Hello, I'm Lisa Gray, Executive Director with the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce. And I'm here today with Bruce and Vanessa Lambert, who are owners of Pixel and Code Studio. And they are our featured member of the month for the month of November. Thanks for joining me, Bruce and Vanessa.
Thanks,
Thank you, Lisa.
How are you doing today?
So excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. So tell us about Pixel and Code Studio. What type of services do you offer?
We are a husband and wife web design and development company. We also specialize in marketing, branding, and anything creative that your business could need.
Okay, and where does the name Pixel and Code Studio come from?
I'm glad you asked that. That's one of our favorite parts. We, well, being the branding company that we are, we wanted something that really reflects what we do. And pixel is a form of measurement when it comes to design. So in Photoshop, or if you're looking at your computer screen, it would be 1200 pixels or 1400 pixels, right, depending on the size. So pixel is my increment, and because I'm the creative, I'm pixel. And Bruce, being the developer and tech specialist, he represents code.
Which is all of the different types of that jargon you see that nobody truly understands. Yeah. I'm the one who has to make it turn it to actually make sense.
Okay. And you mentioned branding. What are we really talking about when we hear the word branding? What does that mean?
Oh gosh, branding encompasses so much. It's so important for small businesses to understand what this means. It includes everything from a logo design, a consistent use of colors, and the tone that you take when you're speaking as far as copy, or if you're doing any kind of commercials or marketing collateral. We work with our small businesses to understand how they want to be viewed by the consumer, and things that come into play are you a company that's, you know, small and friendly and upbeat? That tone and color scheme would be completely different from somebody who's a bit more structured and white collar. So let's say a finance company, for example. They're going to want something that's more clean, professional, and we'll work with whichever individual that is, to create something that really defines the look and feel that they're going for. But branding is so much more than just that one shot. It's when you're doing a marketing piece, let's say direct mail or a billboard even, or just anything, a website, you want that consistency. So when the consumers are flipping through a magazine or checking their mail, they recognize your brand, and that's really what branding is. Let's say Coca-Cola, for example. You know, if you're on the highway and you drive by a billboard real quick and you're kind of looking at your peripherals, but you see, when you think Coca-Cola, what do you think? You think red. You think script writing, the use of, you know, darker colors, maybe a polar bear. Those are all pieces that represent their brand, and we try to find something that represents those small businesses so that they have their own consistent message.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. So what makes Pixel and Code Studio different from other agencies?
Did you want to touch on that a little?
Well, just being a husband and wife duo, that's the first thing. And any time a project comes in, actually the two of us can sit there over dinner, you know, first thing in the morning, anytime, and talk about the project and work on it. We also have that big background agency experience, and we've certainly seen the good of it and the bad. We've taken both, and we've been able to kind of put it down to a much smaller portion for us, that we can really work closely with those our clients and make sure that they're able to get the best experience possible.
Yeah, we actually met at an agency quite a few years ago at this point. Yeah. And in our time of working together, we've worked with agencies throughout the state, and so a lot of times I would be doing design work on a project and Bruce would be doing the development work. And when you take out the project manager, you take out the accounts people, we were the ones a lot of times spearheading these projects from start to finish. And in the big agency world, you have all these extra people involved, and sometimes I would find that the message got a little clunkier because there were too many people involved. Whereas when Bruce and I take matters into our own hands, we're able to deliver those different levels of service throughout the process. So with us, you get that project manager, you get that accounts person, you get the customer service, you get the website design side, and the development, all bundled into two people. So it's a lot more streamlined. Since we work out of our home, right, in Simsbury, we have much less overhead, so we are able to provide a much lower cost for these clients. A lot of the agencies, at least the ones that we've worked with, they work with bigger brands and with bigger costs. So they're bringing in a lot more money. They also have a lot more to pay out between employees and medical and all the different things that are entailed with their business. And with us, since it's just the two of us, we're able to kind of create a niche for those small businesses. And a lot of the small businesses we work with have a more restrictive budget. They might just be getting started or in the first 5 years of their business. So they have to be a lot more cognizant of their spending. And that's where we come into play, because we try to create a custom solution no matter what your budget is.
Yeah. Okay, so you really like working with small businesses.
Oh, yeah, that's really our number one. It's rare that we get anything outside. I mean, we do a little consumer as well for certain projects, and we've certainly worked with the larger businesses, but being that we're so proud of our hometown now, Simsbury, we love watching our neighbors flourish. And when we collaborate with our neighbors and their small businesses, that's really the most rewarding.
And seeing the smile on their face.
I know, I love it.
We finish a project for them and they're very happy with the outcome and they see their business grow. That makes us very happy and proud.
Great.
And then we get to see them even out in public and give them a nice a handshake, a hug, because we're friends too, more than just business.
In the agency world, and even in our earlier clients we took on, we had clients throughout the country. We would be on phone calls, doing Skype calls, and we try to make it as personal as we can, but still, when you're face to face, there's nothing like creating those relationships. And that's another reason we love the Simsbury Chamber so much, is because of all the networking and all that FaceTime you get with all of these people. And it's not just about getting new clients, which, it's great, I'm not going to lie. We love getting new clients, but it's great to make those friendships. And like Bruce said, we see them out in town and it's like, hey, how are you doing? It's just good to establish those relationships.
And that's really where the business connections start.
Exactly.
Yeah. So website creation is a big part of your business, right? Why is it so important today for a business to have a professional website?
Well, websites, I mean, that's really your first impression that the client gets, whether it's an existing client or a prospective kind of new business leads. Whether you're a product or a service, your website works around the clock for you. And when somebody goes to look at your website, if it's done properly, so I use that with caution, that's where we would come into play to help you. But if it's done properly, we should be able to see the list of services you do, a good background about your business and what your mission statement is and what you are offering. There should be a contact form where, let's say, for argument's sake, you have night owls like Bruce and myself. 2 a.m. I decide, you know what? I need to change insurance companies. I'm going to go on the website during non-business hours, and I'm going to go look for some information, so that information is there readily available, and I need to contact somebody. Unless there's a 24/7 hotline, which for small businesses, you don't see that frequently. I'm going to want to send a contact form or an email or something to let me get in touch with that person. That's what your website does for you. You don't need to be there by the phone 24/7. You can get inquiries, if you're out on vacation, if you're out on a sick day, if you're dealing with another client. It works for you in ways that no sales team can do. It's an incredible way to market yourself and to, let's say Google. For example, people are constantly on their phones, on their tablets. I'm sure you could speak to that. That is the number one way that people find businesses. In the olden days, I know it was the yellow books were very popular, and that's become a very antiquated thing now. People are going online. They're going on Google. They're using these search engines. And when they type in a certain keyword or a certain town, you want to come up because this is the way that people are finding businesses. So with these websites, if they're done properly, that's how we help with Google optimization so that people can find you easier. And it's just an incredible tool. So when people or small businesses haven't yet taken advantage to the full ability, it really hurts their business. And another part, you want to talk about mobile a little bit.
Yeah, and we make sure that it's responsive. And what responsive means is that it can be viewed on any device. So it gives the layout of the website a very fluid kind of look to it. So as you see it on a phone, it's going to shrink to this area, and it's going to go a little bigger to a tablet, and then it's going to move pieces around when it goes to the desktop. And through all those experiences, you want to make sure it looks proper. And a lot of sites out there still aren't in that that. It's quite most aren't actually,
Right.
and we're able to make that so it's possible to see across because they're constantly introducing new devices. You got Apple Watches and you got all this other kind of stuff, and they're going to keep adding more devices. So we make it fluid enough where it can fit across anything.
Okay.
And not only that, but now we've learned that Google, although they have a very, very specific logarithm that even your best developers don't quite understand. That's like locked and key in the Google Vault. But we do know for sure that they rank websites and your performance as far as how well you'll be if you're on the first page or the third page. A lot of that now depends on your site being responsive. And if you don't have a responsive website, as Bruce described, with mobile, tablet, and all those different components, your performance will be affected negatively and people will be able to find you. And in our opinion, and in most, it's just an industry standard, if you're going to spend the money and do your website, you want to make sure you're doing it the best way to get the best possible performance, because it's all about lead generation and capturing that information from the clients.
Right. I know there are several online services that advertise that you can put your own website together in 30 minutes or something like that. Why would someone want to use an agency such as yours as opposed to going in on their own with something like that that's obviously going to be a lot less expensive? And for small businesses, that's a big consideration.
Absolutely.
So why would you recommend against that?
Well, Bruce is always in the dirt and dealing with all the code and everything like that. So, a lot of times we have dealt with clients that have something more generic and templated, like you're describing. And you can kind of describe how limited.
Yeah, it focuses you're only allowed to do a few optimizations, and they also really keep you within their boundaries. So if you want to go and put a little more extra pieces in there, you're restricted to exactly what they give you. That's it. With us, we can create things that are pretty much anything you can imagine, and it gives such a wide spectrum, and so it doesn't have to look like everybody's site, because you kind of look at it, you can see those free sites, and you kind of can tell visually that's made by them, that's made by them. But with what we can do, we can take it, change that, plus give you so many options. I mean, it's limitless to what you want to add to the site, and that makes it better for your business, because as she was alluding to with Google, they want to see everything responsive, but they want to see that you keep after your site and that it's not such a static portion to it. They want to see content that's dynamic, and that means that it's constantly changing and evolving.
Like a blog post,
right.
for
And so we give a
example.
lot of those things I could put in there and make it so that it does give it that different take that will make Google, put you up higher in the ranking.
Right, and just to elaborate on that, when we take a client who has a more structured site like that, we find that it's a domino effect. When you try to fix one thing, especially when it's code we've never worked in, you try to adjust one thing and then it affects something else, and then before you know it, it can break the site very easily if you try to do anything outside of the box.
Yeah.
So if you are committed to something like that, just a simple image and some basic copy, honestly, that's better than nothing. And when we get in some of these client interactions and we find that their budget's $200 or $300, then by all means, it's not a bad thing to have. If you have no website and you have a very limited budget, I'm the first person to tell them, hey, maybe this is the solution for you. The thing is, we never try to push someone into a website beyond their means. If it's a good starting point, hey, for the first 6 months, you want to use like Wix, for example, and get a more templated site up there. Go ahead, that's great. I will help you with designs if you need any, copywriting or designs to work into that page. Then, and if that's the best solution. But if you want to grow and really keep building on your website and posting new content and adding a blog feature and getting a contact form, these are things that's where we would really come into play.
And you both talked about a business improving their rankings and searches, and is that what we refer to now, or what we hear the key phrase, search engine optimization? Are you talking about the same thing?
Yes, yes. Search engine optimization is your organic search. So when I use the term organic, that means it's based on your website alone, based on maybe your social media pages, or just places you've been featured. I know when we type in Pixel and Code, we come up as a Simsbury Chamber member. So that's a great tool, any chamber members to take advantage of, because it helps enhance your relevancy. But SEO, search engine optimization, is when you don't pay for any Google ads. So if we were talking about a Google ad, that's something that you pay for out of your budget for the business. SEO is strictly based on you not paying anything and just letting your website work for you.
And how do you acquire your clients?
We've been very lucky because a lot of it is word of mouth, which is great because when we have happy clients and they tell their friends or their colleagues, that's always the most rewarding because it shows they were pleased with their service.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's the best.
But now, especially that we are somewhat newbie chamber members, we're just finishing up our first year. It has been a tremendous experience. We started in January, and we have taken advantage of a lot of the networking events that you guys put on. So praise Lisa.
Well, thank you.
The after hours, the new member luncheons, some of the morning different events and ribbon cuttings. It's been amazing. We get that time to interact with different people who are involved in the town, and in whatever way, whether it's new friendships or new clients. And we are not salesy people by any means. So when we go to these events, it's mostly just to make the connection. And it's like, hey, we're here if you need us, no pressure. And I think that's really resonated with a lot of people that we work with.
Sure.
And another great thing, Simsbury Moms Unite.
Yes,
Just from friends sometimes that, once in a while, somebody will say, hey, I need a web designer. I need this one little project. And then because I follow that that often, and then I see somebody's like, oh, Vanessa at Pixel and Code. And I'm like, thank you. These people, they just do it out of their own goodwill. And I appreciate that. I can't say enough great things. I've gotten quite a few different business leads from Simsbury Moms Unite.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what can a new client expect when they're signing on with you? What do they have to look forward to in working with the two of you?
We are very hands-on. We walk our client hand in hand through the entire process from start to finish. We make ourselves very readily available. Like, for example, if you look at our Facebook page, our business hours you can plug in. It says 24/7. We are open, 24 hours a day. And I take that very literally. I'm not kidding when I say if a client needs me, I am there for them. I guess it's kind of a, what do you call it? Oh my goodness. It's almost a double-edged sword in the sense that, we have a new marriage and we have a home together, and it's balancing work and life. And I know Bruce constantly has to say, hey, you're on your phone too much, but it's because of the clients. And if an email comes through, especially if it's something urgent, I want to be there. I want to be responding. I take it personally to myself if I don't respond to you within an hour. I always say, if I don't respond to you within an hour or two, I didn't get your email, because that's how serious I take things. So that's one thing for sure, that it's the accountability, it's the follow-up, the organization to a flaw, Lisa. I'm very anal with making sure we're meeting deadlines and that our designs and the work that we do well exceeds the level of our competitors. Yeah.
Well, it shows that you love what you do, and it sounds like you don't just work it, you eat it, you sleep it, everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell us a little bit about the team dynamics of working together as a husband and wife. How's that working out? Seems great.
It is. We do.
It is.
Yeah, we do well together. Because we certainly have our moments where we're like, I don't agree with this, and we don't agree together. But we always find that common ground, especially when it comes to the client, making sure that they get what they need. Sometimes in design, maybe she wants to have it look a certain way, and then I come back and say, well, it doesn't work functionality-wise. It might be a little too much, and we go back and forth. But otherwise, we really just are able to work very cohesive as like a unit.
The thing is, so we both work from home most of the time, and we are constantly on, around each other, and we just don't get tired of being in each other's company, which has been great, because some couples, they would probably find it a little difficult to be surrounded by one another all that time. They almost need to go to work to get that escape from their spouse. And I respect that. Every couple is different. But with Bruce and I, it bonds us in such a
Yeah.
unique way. And the fact that we started in the field also, as far as we started as colleagues. So we knew at like absolute base relationship for Bruce and
Right.
myself, we were good business partners. It was the relationship that came after. And, you know, Bruce and I, we take nothing personally. When it comes to the client, it's the client's needs and making sure that we deliver for them. That is number one priority. So we have no shame in being like, you know, for example, like I said, we're getting this over to them on Tuesday. It's Monday night. You better get upstairs and finish this. We don't take it personally. We put relationship aside. We put everything aside to make sure that because this is our bread and butter. This is our baby, our business, and we just don't settle for anything than that.
And when someone works with you and you have completed a successful project with them, what is the one thing that you hope that they take away from the experience that they'll remember and maybe pass on to others?
I think that they're just real happy that they chose us from the beginning and that they see this beautiful sire, whether it's branding involved or whatever, and that they're just very happy with the product, and they feel like, hey, not only do I have people I can continue with for my business, but you know, I like talking to them too, and almost like a friendship as well. It's we just like having that, you know, whole kind of and it evolves naturally too. There's nothing ever forced. It's just kind of the way it's been for us.
Because I think with us, it's not just an agency like, oh, your site's done. Take care. Thank you for the business. We end up in a form become ambassadors for your business. When we find out, for example, one of our clients is having a ribbon cutting, we will be the first ones there rooting for you in your corner. You have any questions on a Facebook post or some kind of ad campaign, we are resources for life as long as you'll have us. But that's what we pride ourselves on. It's not just a one and done project. It's the relationship and helping watch your business grow, because that's the biggest goal for us, is not just getting a website out and collecting your money and sending you on your way. It's watching these small businesses really take off and perform well. That is number one goal for us. So it's maintaining those relationships over years of time that allow us to get to that point. And that's what I want people to remember.
And it gets very personal for
exactly.
you. I can
Absolutely.
tell. Well, I really enjoyed our visit. Is there anything else that you'd like to add today and let everybody know about?
Well, if you are interested, I encourage anyone to follow us on Facebook. We are very active with our posts, and we always like to post shout outs for the small businesses that we're collaborating with. And that is at facebook.com/Pixel and Code Studio.
Okay. Yeah. And that's, was that with an ampersand, or do you spell out the word?
I spell out the word
Pixel and Code.
A-N-D.
Okay.
You actually can't use symbols and URLs, or else we would.
Yes.
Cause all kinds of trouble.
Okay,
Yes.
that's right. Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you,
and
Felicia.
thank you for featuring us as the member of the month. What an honor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been a lot of fun working with you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Lisa
Lisa.
Gray, Executive Director with the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce, and I've been visiting today with Bruce and Vanessa Lambert, owners of Pixel and Code Studio. Thank you for joining us.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.